What up, ladies and gentlemen? So today we are going to be tackling Jupiter in the sign of Virgo and what happens when Jupiter is in the sign of Virgo in your horoscope. Well, what is the sign of Virgo? Virgo represents critical, analytical, logical, calculative thinking. It represents dissecting things. It represents criticizing things. Virgo is all about looking at the details of things. And when you look at the details of things, the only way you can look at details is by criticizing it. You see, because you will look at it from the surface first. You'll be like, okay, I like this, but then what's wrong with here? You look deeper. Oh, look, there's something wrong here. You look deeper. Then something wrong here. You look deeper. So this is how Virgo works. The sign of Virgo is very analytical and keen on perfecting things. Like they're the perfectionist of the zodiac. Like they want to, if they write an article, it better be grammar free and misspellings and everything better be clean and squeaky good. And the subject should be good and everything before they present it to you. They will take their time in doing these things. And even if it takes long hours, they're willing to do it. Okay. So this is not a sign of creativity. It's a sign of perfecting the creativity. Okay. Like I remember my Virgo zodiac sign horoscope that I did 2 years ago. A lot of people just hate that video because I criticize, oh, Virgos are not creative. Virgos are very analytical and they just about perfecting things. Yet they don't realize is that if they're creative and they're Virgo, it's not because they're Virgo, it's because of other planets and signs in their horoscope that makes them creative. You see, people just don't get it. You know, just because Scorpio is an intense sign and they backstab everybody and this and that, doesn't mean if somebody told me that I'm going to start hitting their videos. No, because I know what Scorpio is and I know who I am, and I know based on other planetary alignments, I am getting everything else in my chart, neutralized. So this is how you got to look at these things. You can't just look at one sun sign and say, oh, this is who I am. This is who he says I am, and I'm not that. No, but Virgo represents that part. They will criticize an art until to the point it's perfected. So what happens then? It is the most beautiful thing out there because it was criticized so much by a critique or the artist himself who had some Virgo in him. And he says, no, it's not perfect yet. It's not perfect yet. It's not perfect yet. Yet it was a beautiful painting to begin with. Okay, so that's what happens. Like Steve Jobs, he wasn't a Virgo, but he had Mercury in the 6th house, which represents the 6th place of Virgo. And so his analytical mind and his logical intelligence was always like, make it perfect, make it perfect, make it perfect, make it perfect. So that's what happens. You bring Jupiter here. Jupiter is divine knowledge, your intelligence, your guidance, your preaching ability. Okay, it's spirituality and religion. It's higher academic learnings like master's degree, PhD, doctorate. So when he comes into the sign of Virgo, Jupiter, here kind of Jupiter doesn't feel himself. Because here, the teacher who's supposed to guide the students through their imperfection points the imperfection to his students more than like guiding them. Like Jupiter and Virgo will be like, no, I don't like this. Do it this way. Do it this way. No, you suck at it. Do it this way. They become a very critical teacher. They become a very critical preacher. He's like, none of you are perfect. None of you are good at it right now. But I want you to become perfect. Because right now you are completely at the bottom of the pit in what you do. Okay, so this is why because Jupiter is not really happy in a sign of Mercury. Because Mercury is that quick intelligence, real life intelligence. Like, okay, 2 plus 2 is 4 and 2 divided by 3 is this, and where is this thing supposed to be put? We are supposed to arrange this here. Jupiter is not about that. Jupiter is like, I don't care how things are arranged or what is 2 plus 2. I just want to sit in peace and quiet and learn the divine knowledge through meditation, through spirituality, through reading the scriptures, and I want to just guide others on what exactly is the divine knowledge, what exactly is this life. I don't want to calculate these regular mundane things. That's not my job. But when Jupiter is in the sign of Virgo, the house of Mercury, because it's controlled by Mercury, he is now forced to think like Mercury and teach and preach based on those things. So since Virgo represents like, critically looking at things, dissecting things, it can show somebody who's in the medical field, who's a teacher or like a biology professor in a university who criticizes his students. No, 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 you're not doing this right. You're not doing this right. Do it this way. Do it this way. Anytime you do a project, he'll criticize. He'll look at it. See, look at that problem. See, look at that problem. He will not try to look at it as a whole. But the good thing about this is that this teacher will make his students the perfectionists. He will he will teach patience to his students that, hey, take your time, look at all the details before you bring this to me. So now students will be like, okay, let me look at everything because I know the teacher is going to criticize me and he's going to do this. So becomes a good teacher in the medical field. They can become very good accountants because it's all about looking at the details and looking at the numbers. And Jupiter's knowledge is coming through the native into the Virgo aspects of calculating and analytically thinking and looking. And Jupiter also represents finance, so it can make somebody who's good with numbers, accounting, financial management in finance. So finance and medical fields are the top two things you can see with these things. And Jupiter's preaching and teaching ways goes into about going into the details of things and making sure everything is perfect. But the thing is, then their speech pattern and their way of preaching and teaching is not really appreciated by people or students. Like students would avoid this professor's class. They're the professors who are the hardest. You know how you can go on the website now and rate those professors, and people look for the easiest one. The easiest one will be the Jupiter in Cancer or Jupiter somewhere else, like Jupiter in Leo or Jupiter in Sagittarius. In Virgo, Jupiter is like, ooh, this guy's gonna look at every single word that I write on my report. I'm not gonna go for him. That's what happens. This is why Jupiter doesn't like it, because Jupiter feels that my way of teaching, which is, the divine mother's way of teaching, is now becoming very just boredom. Like I have to now look at small little things. Life is not about small little things. It's like, a monk once said, actually me and my girlfriend discussing yesterday, where she was watching this video of monk where he put this wall up while he's a DNA scientist who became a monk, and now he was forced to build a wall because they do their own work. And he put 2 bricks off. The 2 bricks were off-centered. And he was like driving himself nuts because of that. He couldn't be happy looking at the wall he built. And then he realized through his teaching with other monks that out of 98 bricks that he put, 2 bricks that were bad, he was looking at them more than looking at the whole picture, which was the 98 brick wall that he put, which was perfect. But because of those 2 little things, it was bothering him. So these people are very bothered when they're trying to learn or preach or, do their homework and do any kind of work, because they need to perfect that. Their knowledge and their way of preaching and speaking needs to be so perfect that they'll drive themselves nuts. So this is why Jupiter is not really happy. And since Jupiter represents a husband in a female's chart, she will attract a person who will be in a medical field, who will be in a calculative accounting field, and he will be actually very critical of her. He will be like, oh, I don't like the way you do this. Can you just do it that way? He will not praise her as much as he will criticize her to make her perfect. These guys a woman with this Jupiter will get a husband who would want her to look perfect, like a trophy wife out in the world. He would be like, okay, you need to get your body weight down. You need to get your hair done right. You need to put the right makeup on, because I don't like the way you dress when you go out. So they become very critical of their spouse. So although it's not a bad marriage, the spouse is very critical of them. All right. So guys, this was my analysis of Jupiter in the sign of Virgo. If you're new to my channel, subscribe below. And if you want to know where your Virgo is placed in the true essence of astrological calculation and what conjunction your Jupiter is receiving, check out the link below. Check out my books there, Astrology at the Speed of Light and Conjunctions at the Speed of Light. And when you get the book, I will send you the link to look at your own chart. Just make sure you follow the directions below. Otherwise, we'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.